In the late 14th century, the Korean Peninsula was unified under the Goryeo Dynasty. A period of relative peace and prosperity, the Goryeo Dynasty was a significant era in Korean history. However, it was also a time of conflict with neighboring Japan, a tension that would echo through the centuries to come. The Goryeo Dynasty, known for its cultural and scientific advancements, was also marked by military clashes with Japan. These conflicts arose from disputes over territory and influence, painting a picture of a region in a constant state of flux. This turbulent history laid the groundwork for the events of the 20th century, a time when the world was reeling from the aftermath of World War II. Fast forward to 1945 when the winds of change swept across the globe. The Korean Peninsula, previously annexed by Imperial Japan, was suddenly without a governing power. In this vacuum, two new nations were born, a direct result of the geopolitical tensions that defined the era. In the north, the Soviet Union established the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, a state founded on the principles of socialism. In stark contrast, the South became the Republic of Korea, a democratic nation under the watchful eye of the United States. The 38th parallel, an arbitrary line drawn by world powers, became a physical and ideological divide that split the Korean Peninsula in half. This division was far more than a simple geographical separation. It marked a profound ideological divergence, with each Korea espousing a different vision for the future. This rift would become one of the defining characteristics of the Cold War, a symbolic face-off between democracy and communism. The division of Korea was not just a moment of geographical and political fragmentation, it was an event that reshaped the course of history, giving rise to a new world order. It also set the stage for the emergence of a unique political phenomenon. The division of Korea set the stage for the rise of one of the most infamous political dynasties in the world, the Kim Dynasty. As we delve deeper into this story, we'll see how this dynasty came to embody the complexities and contradictions of North Korea itself. The Kim Dynasty began with Kim Il-sung, a former guerrilla fighter against the Japanese. Kim Il-sung's rise to power was a story of resilience and strategic alliances. With the backing of the Soviet Union, he established a communist regime in North Korea, following the division of the Korean Peninsula post-World War II. Kim Il-sung was not just a political leader, but he was also a master of crafting narratives. He built a personality cult around himself, positioning himself as a godlike figure in the eyes of his people. This was not a mere vanity project but a strategic move to consolidate his power and control over North Korea. Under his rule, North Korea adopted the Juche ideology, a unique blend of Marxism-Leninism, Korean nationalism, and self-reliance. This ideology, literally translating to self-reliance, was Kim Il-sung's grand vision for North Korea, a vision where the country would be economically independent and politically non-aligned. However, underneath the facade of self-reliance and prosperity, the reality was starkly different. North Korea was heavily reliant on aid from the Soviet Union and China, and the country was far from prosperous. Kim Il-sung's rule lasted for nearly half a century until his death in July 1994. His passing led to the world's first communist dynasty, with his son Kim Jong Un succeeding him. Kim Jong Il's rule was a continuation of his father's policies. However, his reign was marked by economic instability and increased international isolation. The famine of the late 90s, known as the Arduous March, led to the death of hundreds of thousands of North Koreans, showcasing the failure of the Juche ideology. Despite these challenges, Kim Jong-il managed to maintain his grip on power, largely through the same tactics of personality cult and political repression used by his father. His rule, like his father's, was absolute and unchallenged. Kim Jong-il's rule was marked by economic instability and increased international isolation. When Kim Jong-il's health started to decline, the question of succession became a hot topic. This was an issue that would have far-reaching implications not just for North Korea, but for the entire world. Kim Jong-il had 3 known sons, each with their own unique characteristics and potential claim to the throne. The eldest, Kim Jong-nam, was initially the favorite to succeed his father. His early years were marked by a privileged upbringing and grooming for leadership. However, his fate was sealed by a series of controversies that ultimately led to his downfall. In 2001, Jong-nam was caught trying to enter Japan using a fake passport. He claimed he simply wanted to visit Disneyland Tokyo, but this embarrassing incident tarnished his image and led his father to question his suitability for leadership. Jeonnam's lifestyle, often described as extravagant and playboy-like, was not seen as fitting for the leader of the austere North Korean state. This incident marked the beginning of Jeonnam's estranged relationship with his homeland. He spent most of his time in Macau, China, living in exile. In a twist of fate, it was there that he met his untimely death in 2017, assassinated in a shocking attack that made headlines around the world. While Jeonnam's star was falling, that of his half-brother Kim Jong Un was on the rise. Despite being the youngest son, Jong-un was seen as sharing more of his father's characteristics. He had a strong personality and a strategic mind. He was also more inclined towards the military, a trait that appealed to the North Korean leadership. In the end, it was not the eldest son, but the youngest who would take the reins of power. In the end, it was the youngest son, Kim Jong Un, who succeeded his father. This decision, made amidst a swirl of controversy and intrigue, would set the stage for a new era in North Korean history. Kim Jong Un, the young and untested leader, came to power in 2011. Born in the early 1980s, his age alone marked a significant departure from his father and grandfather's eras. His rise to power was not without its challenges, as he was relatively inexperienced and had a nation to run, a nation that was largely isolated from the rest of the world. Kim Jong-un's early years in power were marked by a series of purges and executions, as he sought to consolidate his power and eliminate potential threats. His uncle, Jang Song-taek, once considered the second most powerful man in North Korea, was among those who met their end during this tumultuous period. This brutal approach to politics was a clear message: Kim Jong-un was in control. In terms of policy, Kim Jong-un has continued the military-first strategy of his predecessors, but with a notable addition: a nuclear weapons program. This program has been a major point of contention with the international community, leading to sanctions and heightened tensions. Despite this, Kim Jong-un has remained steadfast, viewing nuclear weapons as a necessary deterrent and a symbol of North Korea's power. His interactions with the international community have been a mix of posturing and diplomacy. He's met with world leaders, including a historic summit with the US president in 2018. Yet he's also overseen missile tests and issued threats, keeping the world on edge. Kim Jong-un's leadership style is a blend of his grandfather's charisma and his father's ruthlessness, coupled with his own unique approach. He's shown a willingness to use fear as a tool, but also an understanding of the power of image and symbolism. Despite the global scrutiny, North Korea under Kim Jong-un remains largely a mystery. His actions and decisions often seem unpredictable, and the country's isolation only adds to the enigma. Under Kim Jong-un's rule, North Korea remains an enigma to the world. From the division of Korea to the rise of Kim Jong-un, North Korea's history is a tale of dynastic rule and international isolation. Our journey began in the year 1392, the period of the Goryeo Dynasty, when the Korean Peninsula was first split into two parts. This division, a product of geopolitical conflict and local unrest, set the stage for the rise of the Kim Dynasty. We then delved into the rise of this dynasty, beginning with Kim Il-sung, who emerged as a powerful leader amidst the turmoil of the Korean War. His rule, marked by a cult of personality and an iron grip on power, laid the groundwork for his son, Kim Jong-il, to assume the reins. The transition was not without controversy. We explored the succession dispute that saw Kim Jong-il's eldest son passed over for leadership. The circumstances surrounding his death, allegedly ordered by his own brother, added a tragic and chilling chapter to the saga of the Kim dynasty. And that brings us to the current leader, Kim Jong-un. His assumption of power in 2011 signaled a new era for North Korea. Under his rule, the country has continued its defiant stance on the international stage, while internally, Kim Jong-un has consolidated his control and perpetuated the cult of personality established by his predecessors. Throughout this narrative, we've seen a nation shaped by dynastic rule, marked by an enduring isolation from the global community, and led by figures who've been as enigmatic as they are controversial. This journey through North Korea's history has provided us with context to better understand the present and anticipate the possible future. It's a story of power, family, and a nation's resilience in the face of international criticism and sanctions. As we continue to observe North Korea under Kim Jong-un, we are reminded of the complex history that has shaped this unique nation.